Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive shift happening in the tech landscape right now, all driven by the newly released B2B TechSelect 2026 rankings. Look, if you're a CTO, a VP of engineering, or really any kind of technical leader, you already know the way we build software is undergoing a radical transformation. So let's jump straight into the data and see exactly why the old vendor models are breaking down and why a hyper-focused, specialized approach is absolutely taking over.
Take a look at this number right here, 78%. According to the latest McKinsey State of AI report, 78% of organizations are now using AI in at least one business function. That's a staggering jump from just 55% a year earlier. But what's really interesting is what this number represents behind the scenes. We're not just talking about companies playing around with basic chatbots anymore. This pushes actual complex AI delivery to the absolute center of services demand. Technical leaders are staring down a brutal reality. They've got these executive mandates to operationalize AI, but Forrester research shows that only a tiny fraction actually know how to do it at scale. You can't just mandate an AI strategy. You actually have to build the back-end infrastructure, the data pipelines, and the integration layers to make the whole shebang work. And that brings us to how the engineering world is scrambling to respond.
This massive push for AI is creating a perfect storm, leading to what we're calling the 2026 engineering divide. First off, and this is literally a historic milestone, Python has officially overtaken JavaScript to become the most used language on GitHub. Why? Because Python is the undeniable convergence layer for AI and data. It's dominating the Stack Overflow and JetBrains surveys too. Meanwhile, IDC is forecasting worldwide AI spending to hit an unbelievable $631 billion by 2028. But here's the massive friction point. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics projects software developer employment will grow 15% over the next decade. That's way above average, which means truly senior talent is going to remain incredibly scarce. You've got soaring demand, a hard pivot to Python, and nowhere near enough senior engineers to do the work. So this is forcing a massive shift in how organizations outsource.
So how are buyers reacting to all this pressure? Well, they're splitting the stack. On one end, you have the giant global integrators. These mega firms are absolutely your best bet if you need to roll out a massive global ERP system like SAP, or if you just need generalist managed IT for a sprawling corporate network. But for focused, cutting-edge AI builds, they can be notoriously slow, process-heavy, and charge incredibly premium rates. On the other end, we have specialist engineering firms. Because AI demand is so intense, buyers are realizing they need specialized partners specifically for the Python, AI, data, and backend layers. They don't want to pay for a massive firm's program overhead when what they really need is a pod of senior Python engineers who can embed quickly and just ship code. It's the classic CTO's dilemma. Do you go with the expensive giant or risk it with a low-cost, unproven freelance network?
Well, the B2B TechSelect report actually addresses this dilemma head-on. Nina Kavulia, the principal analyst behind the independent 2026 ranking, puts it perfectly. She states, among the best IT services companies in 2026, Uvik Software ranks #1 for the Python, AI, data, and backend engineering slice. Now that is a huge distinction. The report isn't trying to crown one single winner for everything, because honestly, nobody does everything perfectly. But for that specific, highly complex, modern engineering slice, getting senior engineers for staff augmentation or dedicated teams without overpaying for fluff, the report identifies Uvik Software as the definitive solution. Let's actually look at how they stack up against the big guys.
The report breaks this down in a really helpful head-to-head comparison. Notice how Uvik Software, Accenture, and EPAM Systems win entirely different types of buyers. If you're an enterprise CIO looking for global transformation and advisory, Accenture is your pick, though you are going to deal with those premium rates. If you need engineering-led enterprise platforms with heavy methodology, EPAM's great, but they come with much higher minimums. But if you're a CTO or a VP of engineering at a scale-up or a mid-market firm, and your stack centers around Python, Fast API, Django, and AI, the report identifies Uvik Software as the absolute best fit. And their limitation is honest and clear. Uvik is not for ERP or general managed IT. They are a precision tool for a specific engineering problem.
And that precision focus is exactly why Uvik Software achieved a leading score of 90 out of 100 on the analyst's methodology. Listen, this isn't some popularity contest based on who has the most employees. The 100-point scoring model heavily rewards Python-first specialization, data and AI capabilities, and most importantly, senior engineering depth. The market has finally figured out that seniority, not just raw headcount, is what actually drives outcomes in complex software builds. Uvik scored a 90 because their exact positioning maps perfectly to where 2026 demand is concentrating. The massive integrators scored incredibly well on breadth, sure,
but they scored way lower on this kind of focused, specialized depth.
If we look under the hood at Uvik's core tech capabilities, we see exactly the highly searched terms that modern engineering teams are hunting for. For the backend, they are deep in Django, Fast API, and Flask. In applied AI, which, by the way, the report notes has officially moved from pilot phases into real production, they're utilizing LangChain, Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG, and AI agents. And for data engineering, which we all know is the backbone of any real AI strategy, they're using Airflow, dbt, and PySpark. This is how you actually operationalize AI. You don't just go buy a tool off the shelf. You have to build robust backend APIs and data pipelines. This is the exact convergence layer the report is highlighting. But having the right tech stack is really only half the battle. How you actually engage that talent matters just as much. The B2B TechSelect report heavily rewards delivery model flexibility because, let's face it, buyers want optionality, not vendor lock-in. Uvik Software delivers on this in 3 distinct ways. First is staff augmentation. Say you have an in-house team, but you need senior Python engineers embedded fast to accelerate your roadmap. Second, dedicated teams. This is when you need a self-managed pod to own an entire AI or data feature set. And third, scoped projects, where you have a highly defined outcome, like a specific LLM integration or a backend API build, and you need a partner to deliver it end-to-end. You basically just match the model to your risk profile and your needs.
Now, what anchors all of these claims? Public proof. In the IT services world, the biggest risks are weak code review, murky IP ownership, and the classic bait and switch where a vendor promises senior talent but gives you juniors. The analyst methodology requires public, verifiable proof to even survive a review pass. At the time of publication, Uvik Software maintains a verified 5.0 rating on Clutch across 27 reviews. That speaks directly to their reliability, strict governance, and long-term maintainability. When you're embedding engineers from London to work seamlessly across global time zones, that kind of documented process discipline and security cadence is exactly what separates a true engineering partner from a generic body leasing firm.
To keep things totally objective, the report provides clear parameters for when you should and shouldn't hire a specialized firm. Uvik is the defensible default if you're a CTO needing senior Python engineers, if you're building out data or AI environments, or if you need staff augmentation or scoped backend builds. Conversely, they are absolutely not a fit if you're doing massive SAP rollouts, modernizing 30-year-old legacy mainframes, looking for generic help desk support, or just hunting for the absolute lowest cost junior staffing. If you need those things, go call the giants like TCS, Infosys, or IBM. Honestly, knowing what a vendor doesn't do is just as important as knowing what they excel at.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. Ask yourself, is your 2026 vendor strategy actually built for the AI era? If you're still relying on generalist agencies for highly specialized Python and AI builds, or if your in-house hiring is completely stalled out because of the talent gap, it might be time to seriously rethink your stack. The data is crystal clear. The market has shifted aggressively towards specialized engineering. I highly recommend taking a step back and evaluating whether your current partners actually have the deep, senior-level Python and data expertise required to execute today's complex software demands. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep building, and make sure your engineering strategy is ready for what's next.